Coming up on this edition of Speed Chronicles, a clean finish.
Zig Media presents Speed Chronicles with Todd Lewis, powered by Rev TV.
Thanks for joining us this week. We do it every Wednesday here on the Rev TV YouTube channel. And of course, all your favorite podcast platforms. Hit like, hit subscribe, and check out a new edition of Speed Chronicles every Wednesday. All right, what do you want to get into? How about Talladega? Yes, it was the second super speedway. Some count Atlanta as a super speedway. I really don't. But anyhow, it was the second super speedway after Daytona for the NASCAR group this past weekend. And how do you like that? Do you know what? They ran clean to the finish. Clean to the finish. I kept waiting for it. A lot of people kept waiting for it. There was no big smash, bang, crash, mayhem leading up to the checkered flag, which fell at its scheduled time at lap 188. It didn't go into overtime on multiple occasions. It just ran clean to the finish. And I'll give you that it wasn't the best NASCAR Cup Series race, but I'll tell you, I like that these drivers raced hard, raced clean to the finish. It's understandable that sometimes mistakes are going to happen and big crashes are going to happen with this form of racing and this particular car and how it works and how it operates and how it drives and the tracks that you're at. I will take a clean finish. Even if they had taken the white flag and gone halfway around, and then there was an incident where the yellow flag had to fly, that would have been a checker. We would not have gone into overtime. Maybe I'm saying that my issue is with overtime, which if you've followed previous episodes of Speed Chronicles, you'll understand that I am not necessarily a big fan of overtime and extending the race length because I think it screws with strategy. But I'll take a clean finish. And pats on the back for everybody that did well. I understand, again, there are limitations with what you can do and can't do with this particular Cup Series car and the parameters that it races in. But it was a clean finish, and it was almost, there was a disappointed sound to some, be it announcers or of those covering the race, post race, as well as almost as if there were some disappointment among fans as well that there was no giant carnage and crash. I'm one for avoiding that sort of thing. I think it's a positive, and I don't want to see cars piled up every which way and have big messes. There were a couple of incidents, but they were both the results of competition, in the sense that there was one crash where a number of cars were trying to pit together and make their way in for scheduled pit stops and then exit together, and they got a little bunged up on the way in, so a couple of cars touched. All right, that's going to happen. You're trying to maximize your efficiency. Sometimes it goes wrong. And the next one, where a couple of cars collided on the restart after a caution period. Again, this is trying to get back up to speed, trying to do the right thing. Sometimes you're going to mess up, and sometimes you're going to crash. And that's where the excitement, the drama, the danger, if you will, too, with motorsports comes in. It's trying to go as fast as you possibly can. It's working around the competition and gaining positions as best you can. And sometimes, because you are on the edge, you do have a crash. But the manufactured crashes because of close competition, those are the ones I kind of struggle with. Again, if we had practice, I think it would help. The Cup Series showed up, qualify, race. Xfinity Series, again, it would be nice if there was some practice. I think that would really help. And the other thing that eliminating practice does, it really changes the fan experience. I know lots of people, myself included, that like to watch practice just to see what teams are doing, what they might be working on, where they might be trying to gain an advantage. I know you're limited again at some tracks with these horsepower regulated tracks and performance regulated tracks, but I like to watch practice. Give fans a little bit of something at the track to watch. Those on TV as well, because practice is, of course, televised in a lot of the major series. More carnage and mayhem in the Xfinity Series. That was a big hit from Connor Zilisch that went nose first into the inside wall if you didn't see it. Thank heaven for those softer, safer barriers that have saved an awful lot of people, an awful lot of injury. Katherine Legge was participating in the Xfinity Series race. She was involved in an incident. It was not of her doing. She was once again crashed into, and you know what? That's good for Eric Almirola, who said afterwards, "Is like, yeah, you know what? I tried to move up. I made a mistake. I collected her. She did nothing wrong. It wasn't her fault. Let's move on from all that drama." And so if you like NASCAR racing and the Cup Series, be prepared for 27 weeks of it in a row now, because that's what we're going to get right through until the beginning of November. Had their off weekend over the Easter holiday, it runs right through now until November. That is an awful lot of racing. That is a huge grind that these teams are going to have to endure. Also this past week, NASCAR announced the rules of engagement and competition, if you will, for the All-Star Race that is coming up in May. Can you possibly think of a more complicated or difficult to understand set of rules? I don't get it. Hey, let's have an all-star race. Let's pick the top drivers, guys that won the previous year, or racers that won a pole position maybe. Throw them in an all-star race, put up a big bag of cash. Whoever gets to the front first and takes the checkered flag wins. No. Let's put a whole bunch of other different pieces of the puzzle in, like qualifying races and wild cards and all this other stuff. Here's an idea. Figure out how long the race should be. Will there have live pit stops? Will they have a break? And here's the most important thing. Throw the green, let the drivers race. That's it. First one to the checkers wins. Give them a big pot of money. That's what it's all about. There's no stages. There's no complicated manufacturer competitions like they've thrown in. Or how about this promoter's caution? Dumbest thing ever. There might be a caution between lap 100 and 220. If we think it might be a good idea, it's up to someone to throw it if we think it'll help the competition. How is that different from the so-called debris cautions that we've seen in multiple NASCAR disciplines over the years? They might throw a caution, might not. If another caution happens in the same vicinity, that might be considered a promoter caution. Here's the money. Here's how many laps it is. Go as fast as you can, win. Isn't that what racing is all about? It's an all-star race. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be for competition. Doesn't count in the point standings. You don't have to worry about that. Go. Hard charge. Seems to make a lot of sense to me, but I don't make those rules. Coming up this weekend, IndyCar is back in action after a few weeks off. They are at Barber Motorsports Park. The grind begins for IndyCars as well because they are busy after Barber. Then you head to the Indy Grand Prix. Then you've got qualifying for the Indy 500. Then you've got the Indy 500. Then you've got the Detroit Grand Prix right after that. That is a grind for those teams for the next month, switching from road course at Barber and Indy Grand Prix to the 500 car, the oval car, and then back on the road courses again at Detroit. It is a grind for those teams. It is a very busy month. Stakes are so high, of course, because it's the Indianapolis 500. Barber is a beautiful facility. If you're not that familiar with it or you've never been, it's absolutely fantastic. It's been referred to as the Augusta National of motorsports parks. They dress it up nicely. The grounds are meticulously kept, much the way that Augusta National Golf Course is. They hide all of the porta potties that they have on the grounds. They try to surround them and beautify them so you don't just have this ugly row of porta potties on the grounds. It's a really beautiful place. They have artwork all around the track. In fact, that was a bit of a story last year at the IndyCar race at Barber Motorsport Park because one of the mannequins that was dangling over the track, Georgina, her name, fell onto the racetrack, of course, during the race. And a big deal was made about this. So here's the challenge, Fox Sports and IndyCar on Fox Sports. You got to make this part of your broadcast this weekend. I don't know how you do it, but I think there's got to be some sort of tie-in to last year's race because this is the fun. This is the personality, if you will, of the series, of the track, of the drivers. Scott McLaughlin posted a beauty on his social Instagram post this past week with him and Georgina. This is fun stuff. This is what needs to be brought in. Again, let's see what happens. I hopefully it does. Formula One also back in action. First trip to the United States. They are headed to Miami for the Grand Prix. It's not everybody's favorite track. I don't think it's anybody's favorite track. There's parts of it that are okay. There's other parts that are not okay. But isn't it a great vibe? Formula One, Miami Beach, South Beach, water, sunshine, and sunshine, and big crowds, and great weather, and it's a cool vibe. It's a good event. It does well. Is it the best course? Hey, maybe not. But you know what? They can't all be Spa, or they can't all be Coda. Just to have a fantastic racetrack. It's a good event. It does well, and it's going to be around for a while. I'll put this little tidbit out as well. Saved it right for the end here. Race season just about set to go up in Canada. Some tracks are going to try to squeeze in an event or two before the long weekend, but that's when it really kicks off. The Victoria Day long weekend, the unofficial, semi-official start to summer in Canada. That's when racing season really kicks off. That's where the NASCAR Canada Series will be kicking off their season this year. They will be at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the Victoria Day Speed Fest. It has become the staple of season openers. It is a great event if you're in the vicinity, about an hour outside Toronto. Fantastic event if you like camping. I think they have a little bit left. NASCAR Canada Series headlines the event, which will have Radical Cup Canada and other series on track through the weekend. It's good. There have been lots of things being worked on and lots of things percolating in terms of the NASCAR Canada Series, and they are still being worked on. Some things they wanted to do are not going to be possible to do. Other things that you haven't heard about yet are going to happen in terms of coverage and in terms of teams and things. It's good. Everybody's doing their best. Challenging times, I know, elections and drama and all the political stuff, but it does have an impact on the business community. So let's hope that the distractions are, for the most part, moving into the rearview mirror behind us. But excited to be part of some new things in coverage in terms of the NASCAR Canada Series this year. You'll be hearing about them in the next week or two. There's big news coming on the broadcasts and other things. Looking forward to it and being a part of it. That's this week's edition of Speed Chronicles. Don't forget, like and subscribe wherever you get it on the Rev TV YouTube channel or your favorite podcast platform. Back with you again next week.